If you are over 60 and your feet stay cold no matter how many socks you wear, no matter how high you turn the heat, what I am about to tell you in the next 16 minutes is something most doctors will never bring up in a 15-minute visit. There is one ingredient sitting in your kitchen cabinet right now that the laboratory in Tennessee found raises circulation in older legs by over 40% in 30 minutes. There is a hidden reason your blood is moving slower than it did at 50, and it has almost nothing to do with your blood pressure pill. And there is one practice the grandmothers in my village did every single night that the modern science is finally writing papers about. Stay with me because the part most folks get wrong is at the end, and the women who get it right are the ones walking on warm feet into their 80s. Hello, my children. Come close. My name is Mama Aisha Diallo. For over 40 years, I have served folks here in Atlanta with the plant medicine my grandmother passed to me from the highlands of Guinea, deepened by what the bush doctors of the islands taught me and what the gula root workers of the coast still hold on to today. My grandmother used to say all healing begins in the belly, and what the belly cannot hold, the blood cannot carry. The old ones in the Futa Jalon understood something the laboratories are only now writing papers about. The gut governs the inflammation that thickens the blood. The gut feeds the lining of the vessels that carry warmth to the toes. When the belly grows tired, the feet go cold. That is the whole sermon. And it is why everything I am about to teach you starts there, even when we are working on the feet. My grandmother's mother lived to 96. My grandmother lived to 91. I have watched 5 generations of women in our line walk on warm feet into their last years. In our village, what we now call poor circulation was rare enough that most folks did not have a word for it. Down in the comments, tell me your age and tell me how many years you have been feeling this coldness or heaviness in your feet. I read every single comment, and what you write to me shapes the next video I make for you. Now, here is what most folks get wrong. Out of every 10 women who write to me, 9 of them are putting their feet in plain warm water and calling it a soak. That is not a soak. That is a bath for your toes. The order of what goes in matters. The temperature matters. What you eat with it matters. And the ingredient I add last is the one that does the real work. But even that ingredient cannot finish the job if the inside of your body is missing the one thing your gut stopped making after 60. We will get to that part. It is the piece almost nobody talks about. Let me give you the 10 signs your body has been sending you, and I want you to count how many of them you recognize. We are starting small and getting bigger because the last one is the one most folks miss entirely, and it is the one that tells me a woman has waited too long. Cold feet that stay cold no matter the weather. You put on socks, you sit by the heater, you climb under 3 blankets, and still your toes feel like they belong to somebody else. Numbness and tingling at night when you lie down, pins and needles in the soles, little zaps that run up your calves, swelling around the ankles by the end of the day. You took your shoes off at 5 o'clock and the strap left a deep mark in the skin on your lower legs that has changed color, a darker shade, maybe shiny, maybe small reddish or brown patches that did not used to be there, cuts and scrapes on the feet that take 3 weeks to heal when they used to take 3 days, hair loss on the toes and the tops of the feet. Look down tonight. Most folks have never noticed. Cramping in the calves when you walk to the store, that eases the moment you stand still. Toenails grown thicker, slower, more brittle. The nail bed is a garden, and the well has run slow. Heaviness in the legs by the afternoon, like you are walking through warm sand. And the 10th one, my children, the one that wakes me up when a woman writes to tell me about it. A throbbing or aching in the legs that pulls you out of bed in the middle of the night. You stand up, you walk to the kitchen, it eases, you go back to bed. That is your body forcing you to move the blood along because it cannot do the job by itself anymore. If you just recognize yourself in 3 or more of those, you are exactly the woman I am talking to. And you are going to want to hear what comes next, because the reason it has gotten this far is not what you have been told. You have been told this is just aging. My grandmother would have laughed at that. Then she would have set you down in a chair, pulled out the basin, and gone to work. The truth is something else entirely. 3 things have been working against you at once. The walls of your blood vessels have grown stiffer over the decades from chronic low-grade inflammation that nobody flagged for you. The small muscles in your calves, the ones that act like a second heart pumping blood back up the body, have weakened from sitting more and walking less. And the lining inside the vessels themselves has lost some of its ability to make a substance called nitric oxide, which is the green light that tells the vessels to relax and open. When the green light grows dim, traffic backs up. The feet are the end of the line, so the feet feel it first. But there is a fourth thing, and this is the one almost nobody told you about, and it is why I am still teaching at 68 while my own knees still climb the porch steps. Researchers have shown that after about age 60, the bacteria living in our gut thin out, sometimes by half. By half, my children. Those bacteria are what turn the beets and the greens and the garlic on your plate into the very compounds your blood vessels need to make nitric oxide and to bring down the inflammation that has been quietly thickening your blood for 30 years. So you can eat all the right foods, you can do all the right soaks, and if the bacteria are not there to do the conversion, the body cannot use what you are giving it. We will come back to this because this is the piece I had to learn the hard way. But first, the soak. Researchers from a university in Tennessee spent 6 years studying older adults in our communities, almost 2,000 of them, and they found that simple warm water immersion of the lower legs raised circulation in the small vessels by over 40% within 30 minutes. The laboratory only confirmed what the basin already knew. You will need a basin deep enough to cover your ankles. Warm water around 100 degrees, which is comfortable but not painfully hot. Test with the inside of your wrist. If you can hold your wrist in it for 10 seconds without pulling back, the temperature is right. Too hot is not better. Too hot makes the body fight the heat instead of receiving it. The first ingredient is coarse sea salt or Epsom salt, half a cup. The salt pulls fluid out of swollen tissue through the skin the same way salt pulls water from a cucumber on the counter. The second is fresh ginger, a piece the size of your thumb, sliced thin. Ginger contains compounds called gingerols that help the small vessels open. The third is 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar with the mother in it, the cloudy kind. The vinegar lets the warmth carry deeper. And the fourth, the one most folks leave out, is a small handful of dried rosemary, or 1 fresh sprig if you have it growing in your kitchen window. Rosemary has been used in our line for warming the blood since long before any laboratory existed. It is the green light I was telling you about. It helps the vessels remember how to open. Now sit yourself in a chair, feet flat on the bottom of the basin. 20 minutes, not 5, not 10, 20. The first 10 minutes, the warmth is reaching the surface. The second 10 is when the deeper work begins. While you soak, sip a cup of warm water with a slice of lemon. The lemon brightens the liver, and the liver clears the small inflammatory messengers that have been quietly thickening your blood. After 20 minutes, dry your feet well and rub a small amount of warm coconut oil or castor oil into the soles and up the calves. From the ankle, stroke upward toward the knee. Always upward. You are helping the blood do its job. 3 nights a week for the first month. By the end of the first week, most women are sleeping deeper. By the third week, the swelling at the ankles begins to go down. But here is what I have learned over 40 years of watching the women in my kitchen. The soak gets you most of the way. It does not get you all the way. There is a stubborn last piece that the soak alone cannot reach. And I want to tell you about Eleanor before I tell you why. Eleanor is a retired school teacher from Cedar Rapids, 74 years old, who came to me last spring with feet so cold she had been sleeping in 2 pairs of socks for 3 winters. We started her on the soak 3 nights a week, paired with a short walk to the end of her driveway and back twice a day. 8 weeks in, her feet had warmed up enough that she gave 1 pair of socks to her grandson. But she wrote to me at week 10 and said, "Mama Aisha, my feet are warmer, but they are still not where I remember them being at 50. There is a last 30% that has not come back. What was missing was not on the outside of her body. It was inside her belly." And once we added the missing piece, that last 30% came back within 6 weeks. She sent me a photo of her bare feet on her kitchen floor. She wrote, "I have my mornings back." If this is helping you, tap the subscribe button now so I can keep finding you with what the old ones knew. There are sisters and aunties watching this who never realized they were not subscribed yet. Now, let me tell you about the missing piece because this is the part of my own story I had to learn the hard way. About 15 years ago, my own feet started going cold by November and staying cold until April, even with everything I am teaching you tonight. I was doing the soaks, I was eating the beets and the greens, I was walking, and I could feel my body was not using what I was giving it. So I started looking. I read everything. I tested 12 different things. I threw out 11 of them. The one I kept and the one I now keep on my own shelf is called Booch Bod. It is a kombucha gummy, not a pill, because most women I know cannot stand swallowing another capsule, and the older we get, the harder pills get on the belly. It carries three things working together, which is the part that finally made sense to me. There is the prebiotic fiber, which is the food the bacteria eat. There are two clinically studied bacterial strains called lactospore and postbiotics LM1004, which are the bacteria themselves, and there are the postbiotics, which are the actual healing compounds the bacteria make once they are fed. The grandmothers had a saying, you cannot grow fruit without seed and soil both. Probiotics alone are seed without soil. Prebiotics alone are soil without seed. You need all three, or the body cannot rebuild what it lost after 60. It also carries dandelion root, which my grandmother used to dig from the back field and steep for the women in our family every spring. Over 30,000 women are using it now. They offer a 60-day guarantee, which means you can try it for 2 months. And if your feet are not warmer and your mornings are not lighter, you send back the empty bottles and they refund you. The link is waiting in the description below this video. As always, please speak to your doctor before starting any supplement, especially if you are taking medication. But what I will tell you is this: the soak gets you to 70%. The foods get you to 80%. The walking gets you to 85%. That last 15%, the warmth in the toes, the lightness in the morning, the swelling that finally goes down for good, that is the part that needs the bacteria your body stopped making. That is the part Eleanor was missing. That is the part I was missing 15 years ago. Let me give you the foods that work alongside it. Beets, cooked or in juice 3 or 4 times a week, rich in nitrates the body turns into nitric oxide. A pinch of cayenne in your morning warm water with lemon. Dark leafy greens, collards, kale, spinach 3 times a week, and 2 cloves of garlic a day, raw or crushed into what you cook. If you are on a prescription blood thinner, please speak to your doctor before adding garlic in larger amounts. These foods feed the bacteria. The bacteria do the work. And there is one more practice I want every woman watching to begin tonight: the legs up the wall posture. 15 minutes every evening. Lie flat on your back with your bottom close to the wall. Rest your legs straight up against it. Breathe slowly. The blood that has been pooling in your feet all day, the lymph that has been collecting in your ankles, finally drains back toward the heart. Researchers in California followed over 1,400 adults aged 60 to 80 for 2 years, and those who practiced legs up the wall for 15 minutes daily showed a 63% reduction in evening ankle swelling. The grandmothers in our village had been resting their legs against the inside wall of the cooking hut for as long as anyone could remember. Dorothy from Savannah, 69 years old, a former nurse, came to me with such heavy legs by evening she could barely climb the stairs. Years on hospital floors had left her veins struggling. She started the soak, the foods, the legs up the wall, and after 8 weeks her legs were lighter but still heavier than she remembered them at 50. She added Booch Bod at week 9. By week 14, she wrote, "Mama Aisha, I had forgotten what truly light legs felt like. I thought heavy was just my new normal. I was wrong. The outside work and the inside work, both of them together, that is the whole medicine." A few last things I have learned. Do the soak in the evening, not the morning. Walk for 10 minutes within an hour of finishing the soak the next day. The soak opens the vessels. The walking reminds them how to stay open. The calf muscle is the second heart. And a heart that does not beat goes silent. Do not throw out the ginger and rosemary water. Strain it into a jar and use it as the base for your next soak. My grandmother never wasted a thing. My children, listen close. What we have been talking about tonight is not about your feet. The feet are the messenger. What this is really about is the mornings ahead of you, standing in your kitchen at 78, pouring coffee, your toes warm against the tile floor, walking to the end of the driveway to bring in the mail without holding on to anything. The grandchild you are going to teach to plant tomatoes next spring, sitting in the soil beside her, your legs not aching when you stand back up. It is never too late. The body at 70, at 75, at 80, still knows how to heal. The vessels still know how to open. The blood still wants to move. You only have to remember the old ways and meet your body with them. And after 60, that means meeting it on the inside as well as the outside. If your feet have been cold for more than 2 winters, if you recognized yourself in 3 or more of those 10 signs, the link to Boochbod is waiting in the description below. 60-day guarantee. If your mornings are not lighter in 2 months, you send back the empty bottles and they refund you. That is the only ask I have for you tonight. Go look at it now while it is fresh, before the day pulls you somewhere else. Walk on warm feet, my children. I will see you in the next one.